Good morning, guys. Petko here. I just woke up to a fantastic news. As I already told you guys, this week we should have expected the final changes before Mythic Plus season is out. They were already out. We are already able to see them, to see the impact. Are the classes that I predicted going to get nerfed or buffed? I'm going to tell you in the following 15 minutes. Now, just keep a reminder, this is likely the final adjustments before the Mythic rating, Mythic Plus starts. There might be some more down the line, but I don't expect them to be. I would say 99.9% sure those were the final changes before we start the official Mythic rating and M+. And if there's anything more than this, I'll be surprised. I would say until the end of the month or maybe even October, November, I doubt there's going to be anything relevant to discuss. I'm going to update the tier list for one last time before 11.05 patch, which comes in November. And yeah, let's see if I'm going to be right. Anyway, let's begin. Thank you for coming to the video. Let's go. So first thing first, all of the changes are going to be available on the 17th or 18th of September. So they're not right away hotfixed. First, we have a Dead Knight Sunlin hero talents that's been buffed. As you can see, Vampiric Strike now has a higher chance to trigger from 10 to 25. Pretty much Sunlin buffs. As you can see, the strength you're going to get from there that's now 8%. Was 6 before. And then Frenzied Bloodthirst damage as well increase. So overall Sunland buffs, good thing I guess for them, especially if you do play Blood Decay. I don't know if Unholy is gonna play Riders or Sunland. I guess we'll see. After these buffs, they might. Blood at Night on top of the Sunland changes, it seems to be getting vampiric damage increased by 20%. Inflict of Sorrows deals 15% of the remaining damage over time instead of 10. Okay, so Blood Decay in my opinion, they were already doing fantastic in raiding, one of the best tanks in my opinion. They were the best tank for Delves, and Mythic Plus they were doing above average performance wise. This will push them to do better. Better damage, likely to get a bit stronger. I'm happy for Blood Death Knights aspect that can play it with. You can play this with like multiple comps, whether you're gonna play range comp, melee comp, or hybrid comp, it doesn't really matter. Like it's gonna be good all around. One of the tanks that I consider quite good for pugging because you're able to require less attention from the hitter, have a good mob control, and on top of this, as you guys already said, much improved damage. Overall, W change for Blood Decay. Going forward, Havoc. So for Havoc, it's mostly bug fixes. So fix an issue that caused I-beam damage to be reduced beyond one target instead of 5. That's going to improve damage a little bit between 2, 3, 4 targets, I guess. So that's a bug fix. Fixed an issue that prevented I-beam from benefiting from isolated prey damage bonus. Better single target, I would say, on this one. And then fixed an issue that prevent I-beam from benefiting from chaotic disposition damage bonus. So pretty much more damage with the I-beam right now all around. So I would say very, very minor buffs for Mythic Plus. This might be better for raiding. Whether it is, doesn't really matter. I would say it's just minor hotfixes that obviously are going to push damage a little bit. Other than that, nothing else. And one of the most important things. Okay, I already told you guys many weeks in advance they will buff Balance Druid, and I was right. As you can see, balance all damage buffed by 6%. Status Surge, which is your single target spender, 16% buff. Actually, that's kind of on the low end. I expected that to be like 25-ish, maybe higher even that. But you know, 16 is okay. Starfall damage increased by 20%. Now this is interesting. Their AoE was already very good in like high keys. So that's gonna push them to even better AoE. So I'm kind of surprised they did a Starfall damage here. I mean, I guess for raiding on a council fights, they weren't doing that good. So I guess that's why they buffed them, I would assume. You know, overall a good choice, I would say. Happy to see Balance Reeds climbing higher. For sure, they're gonna climb higher. Lunar Sculling increased Starfire damage on its primary target by 80% from 65. Another buff to Elun's Chosen here. Lunar Sculling. So overall, I would say they're gonna do better in single target. They're gonna do better in AoE. Overall rating buff, M+ buff. Overall just buff everywhere. So they're gonna climb the ladder for sure. Pharaoh, on the other hand, I swear this could change so many times. Blood Talons and Lion Strength no longer increase damage of rampant ferocity. Has been, you know, changed so many times. In response to feedback that has changed to reduce the value of maintaining RIP and complicated using Blood Talons in AoE, we are reverting this change. Okay. Instead of this, they're gonna do all bit damage by 3%, RIP damage by 6%, Ferocious Bite, 3% buff. Pharaoh Frenzy 10% buff. Druid of the Claw Ravage damage increased by 3%. I don't think that's gonna make you play Druid of the Claw Mythic Plus. I think Wild Stalker might still be better. Again, I have to go test it out. These are my first initial thoughts about it. The changes came out, I think, 5 or 6 hours ago. So yeah, overall this should be a buff, I believe. But I'll go online and check it out again. The Restoration Druid has received a buff. I think this is the final time they... So, first Resto Druid was really bad. They buffed it. Then they buffed it again. Then they nerfed it. And now they buffed again. It's actually crazy. All healing increased by 8%. That's going to be really good for raiding as well as Mythic Plus. Rat, Starfire, Star Surge, 20% damage buff. I don't know about that one. I mean, be honest with you, most of the people were like already cat weaving, so... Is that gonna make them, you know, prefer Boomie Affinity, like balance cleaving than cat cleaving? I have no idea. But the healing buffs are actually huge. That's exactly what the Resto Druid needed. And now they're gonna be again in the conversation for one of the better picks this season. I wouldn't be surprised if they climb to the top 2 or top 3 again. Yeah. Evoker disintegrate damage increased by 10%. Okay, so that's gonna be applying for every single Evoker spec that can use disintegrate. And on top of this, Death Evoker got Eternity Surge by 10% buff. Okay, so Death Evoker were already doing good in raiding. They weren't the best, but they weren't the worst. I would say above average. Now that Disintegrate and Eternity Surge has been buffed by 10%, they will do even better than before. On top of this, Death Evoker performance will continue to improve in Mythic Plus, having ES getting buffed by 10%. I would say right now they're gonna climb to the mid-ish bracket. A lot better than before. I think this is the 3rd or 4th buff in a row for Death Evoker. Interesting. Most definitely a preferred choice instead of augmentation for like middle to low keys probably. High keys I'll still go augmentation any day. Alright, moving forward boys. Mage. A living bomb explosion visual now only plays on the unit that is living bombed rather than the each unit damaged by the explosion. That's probably gonna increase your FPS in game. A lot of people complain about their, you know, strong computers, 4070 Ti video cards, or, you know, their 3090K CPU sometimes will get, you know, low FPS in the raids. That might solve some issues, but we'll see. Anyway, Arcane. Sun Fury Meteor damage reduced by 15%. Burden of power damage bonus of for Arcane Blast reduced by 20 from 30. Burden of power bonus from Arcane Barrage from 20 to 30. So that's overall nerfs to Arcane damage. How much are those nerfs gonna be? I'm not totally sure. I need to check out some sims, but it is a nerf to Arcane damage. Especially in my raiding. This is more of a rate change, the M plus change, I would say. I want to see how much damage do we lose in single target and AoE as well. Fire. All damage abilities buffed by 6%. And Living Bomb damage increased by 25. Okay, so Fire Mage were not doing bad in the raiding. They would, I would say, like around average or below average. These changes, we're gonna push them definitely around either average or above average. No, sorry. Previously they were doing below average or average. Now they're gonna do above average or average, I would say, depending on the fight. Overall, good buff Mythic Plus. That's not gonna be enough to put them anywhere in a commanding spot per se compared to, let's say, Frost Mage, but it's gonna start closing the gap with most of the specs. Overall, I like the change to Fire. Mistweaver Monks, 3% extra healing, Tiger Palm damage increased by 15%, as well as Rising Sun Kick. More healing, more damage is gonna be helpful for both Mythic Plus and raiding. Overall W change. Mistweaver were doing like they weren't doing bad per se in Mythic Plus, I would say, but other healers just did better than them. Now they're gonna get better damage profile. I would say mostly single target here and more healing. I still believe that things like P Evoker, Druid, even Paladin and Resto Shaman are gonna be ahead of you. You might still be ahead of Holy Priest and Disc Priest. Windwalker, their Darting Hurricane passive trigger rate reduced by 50%, and it now reduces the global cooldown by 0.25 was 0.5. That's a nerf to Darting Hurricane passive. I don't know what to say about that one. I don't know how that's going to impact the performance. You gotta go and test it out. Holy Paladin. Ooh. All healing reduced by 6%. Judgment damage increased by 60. Crusader Strike also increased damage. Hammer of Light more damage. Avenging Crusader transfer amount reduced to 260 with 420. Wow. That's actually a substantial nerf to Avenger Crusade. Is it because they're buffing everything else damage-wise? I'm not sure. Holy Prism single target damage increased by 100% and area of effect damage increased by 50 buff to Holy Prism. I still think overall Holy Paladin is going to be probably A tier. I don't know about 6% healing reduce though. Maybe it's to offset how they are in rating than they are in M+, I would say. Alright, overall more damage. I'm happy with it. Retribution Paladin, I'm very surprised that Retribution Paladin did not get single target buffs. I was actually pretty confident that they might get it. But previously, as I already discussed, there's a chance for them not getting it because they got single target nerfs like 3 weeks ago. So, yeah. It's still in the back of my mind, I was like, okay, maybe they will do it. Hero to the Sun, Don't Light damage reduced by 15%. I played Templar for Mythic Plus. I don't know if Herald was better than Templar. Templar for me felt better, visually more pleasant, and rotation was more fluid. I think that might be a raid performance here. I'm not totally sure. We're gonna go and check it out. Shadow Priest, all damage increased by 6%. Once again, Shadow Priest getting some love before the season. Has already happened, I think, for the past 5 seasons or 4 seasons. 6% more damage overall, but Psychic Link gets to be nerfed. Now, I believe last time I checked with the theory crafter of Shadow Priest, I think he was posting something like 5.5% buff on single target. Or like 6% buff on ST. 1% nerf on AoE, I would say. But overall, that's going to be a buff to a Shadow Priest by like 1 or 2% M+. So, you know, better single target. I'm up for that. I'm up for that. AoE pretty much stays the same, give or take, I would say. I think he said like 1.3% nerf on a burst AoE and sustained damage around the same, roughly. And single target got buffed. So yeah, overall W change for Shadow Priest, much better ST, which is going to be mostly important for raiding. Rogue. Outlaw Rogue, damage reduced by 4, dispatch by 10%, melee auto attack damage reduced by 8%. 2-piece bonus is gonna get buffed, and also it seems like between the eyes doing 15% per stack, up to 4 stacks plus 6 for 3 stacks. Okay, so here's what they're trying to do. If you guys have not seen so far, Outlaw Rogue tier set gave them around 1.2% more damage, even if they have the 4-piece. So they're shifting some of the power away from their baseline damage, but giving it back to the 4-piece. Is that going to make them better or worse? I have to check out sims. But my intuition is telling me that this could be either a buff or a net neutral change. I haven't checked any sims. I will check after this video. It's because, as I already said, the 2-piece and 4-piece were not impactful at all for Outlaw Rogue, so they didn't really care about that one. Now with the buffs to them, obviously they're going to be a lot more impactful, so you want to rush and get the 4-piece ASAP. That's about it. Okay. Enhanced Shaman. Okay. Enhanced Shaman, all damage abilities buffed by 4%. Buffed enhanced. But the 2-piece got buffed from 6% to 10% on Storm Strike, Lava Lash, Ice Strike, Crash Lighting. The 2-piece is not what's important. That wasn't really, it wasn't really like a big damage buff. The 4-piece was the big damage buff. But Witch Doctor Ancestry now reduces the cooldown of Pharaoh Spirits by 1 second whenever you gain a Maelstrom weapon with 2. Now, this is actually the substantial nerf here. Is that going to be a net neutral change, nerf or a buff? From my understanding, this probably is going to be a nerf. Probably. I'm just saying probably because I haven't checked any initial sims. I will check them out after the video. My intuition here is telling me this could be a... This is definitely a nerf, but is the buff to overall toolkit of damage profile by 4% and buff to the 2-piece. Is that going to be impactful enough to offset the nerfs to the Witch Doctor Ancestry? I'm not sure. Next in line, the Restoration Shaman. Okay, I'm actually surprised that the Restoration Shaman is getting a buff. They were already the best hero in Mythic Plus, and they were doing fantastic in raiding. Now they're going to get a Lightning Bolt, Chain Lighting, and Lava Burst damage increase. So pretty much Better AoE profile, better single target by Restoration Shaman. I would say it's safe to say right now they're gonna remain S tier for pretty much all content. So if you're a Resto Shaman main, you love this shit. Like, I think you're gonna be the best hero in Mythic Plus, and about rating, I guess it depends on a boss fight, but you're gonna be good there too. Overall, unexpected buffs to Resto Shaman, W I guess, if you're Resto main, W if a Shaman main. Ellie didn't get any changes, but Ellie's already fantastic, so good shit, boys, we're gonna be good. Demonology Lock. So Demonology Lock got a Demon Bolt damage buff by 20%. Pact of the Eredin Summon Doomguard damage increased by 45%. Tailguard damage increased by 15%. Wow. So this might actually push Demonology close to Affliction Lock in terms of performance. Unironically, this might even make Demonology better in rating. And then plus, it could probably be a like split decision here, but Demonology is gonna be absolutely cracked now in single target and also in Mythic Plus. Overall, huge W. Demonology getting back to the best casters this season. Very, very good changes for them. Especially the Fail Guard, you know, extra 15% buff. Fantastic. I mean, Demon Bolt, whatever. I don't care about this one, but yeah. And Destruction Lock also getting another buff. This is the third buff in a row. 6% all ability damage. Dimensional Rift by 40% buff. Channel Demon Fire 40% buff. Wow. So Destruction is getting all around buffs. Pretty interesting. That's gonna push them much higher on the tier list. I believe that's more of like rate performance changes, because I think they were like bottom 5 so far. Destro Lock, that is. So that's gonna push them close to the middle in terms of performance. I would still prio Affliction and the Demonology over Destro, but good to see that they're giving some love back to Destro. Overall, an increased performance for AoE and single target too. Happy to see that. Yeah, looking forward to play them in game. Warrior last changes. So Colossus Mountains of Muscle is now being nerfed. Oh, sorry, it's being buffed. My bad. Damage dealt by Demolish through initial strikes increased by 20% buff on Colossus. Mountain Thunder Blast, Lightning Strike, ground current damage increased by 6%. So buff to Colossus, buff to Mountain, but here's the bad news. Arms Warrior, Blade Storm damage reduced by 10%. Fury Warrior, Blade Storm damage reduced by 10%. Odin's Fury damage reduced by 15%. So that's gonna pretty much nerf the burst, the initial burst. I believe that's gonna be also around minor nerf in AoE overall, like maybe like, I don't know, 2-3%, I would say. Napkin math here. Mountain strength of the mountain increases bloodthirst and rampage damage by 20% instead of 15%. So overall, they're trying to shift some of the baseline power of like Arms and Fury towards Colossus or Mountain. That's pretty much what I'm taking here from this. Would be interesting to see if Fury now is gonna play Mountain. Maybe, I don't know. I guess we're gonna see, right? Before I continue, there's a bit more changes to be covered. So overall, I expected, so just to conclude these changes, I expected some buffs to Survival Hunter. They didn't get any buffs, which I'm pretty surprised. I expected buffs to BM AoE. They didn't get anything. Very surprised here too. And last but not least, I expected some adjustments on behalf of like tanks. I wanted to see Ret Paladin getting some durability buffs or even Brewmaster durability buffs. That did not happen. So nothing got changed in regards to tanks except for Blood at Night. Alright, moving forward. Additional hotfixes that came out literally, what, 5 hours ago again. So let's see. Demon Hunter Shattering Souls missiles no longer displays for allies. FPS buff pretty much. Resto Druid fixed a bug preventing ferocious bite from damaging crowd control targets. Bug fix. Dev Evoker fixed an issue where Mass Disintegrate was not benefiting properly from iridescence or Titanic Rat. Overall buff because of the bug fix. P Evoker Cycle of Life no longer accumulates healing done to pets and guardians. RIP. Mystical Monk fixed an issue that caused Jade Bones increase to Yulun, suiting bread to not function in some scenarios. Good. Protection Power and Interaction causing Judgment to trigger Righteousness Protector cooldown reduction when Bastion of Light was active. Good change, by the way. Fixed an interaction causing Bastion of Light stacks to not be consumed when Shining Light was active. Well, I guess that was to be given. A Retribution Paladin. An issue causing Empyrean Hammer to not function on training dummies. Fixed. Instrument of Retribution will no longer trigger Dawnlight. An issue causing Instrument of Retribution to trigger Avenging Rat when talented into Crusade and vice versa has been resolved. Good. Overall, I would say mostly relevant changes. Shaman. Fixed an issue causing Farseer Ancestor spells to have a damage reduction adjustments applied twice to their spells. Good. Now Farseer is gonna slap a what? Correcting an issue where Stormbringer Tempest would consume multiple stacks when striking multiple enemies. Overall, very good change. That happened to me at once. Fixed an issue causing Mastery Elemental Overload to not increase damage from all pets. Wow. It's actually gonna be buffed to Ellie. Amazing change here. Ellie Shaman fixed an issue causing Mastery Element Overload to not increase damage of all pets. W change for Ellie. This is probably going to give some powers back to Ellie Shaman, if anything. Small buffs, probably. Last but not least, Warlock increased the threat generation of Voidwalker and Felguard threatening presence. Probably going to be helping for like devs or world content, irrelevant for Mythic Plus. Last but not least, Trinket Tuning. Nothing relevant, chat. I'm gonna just skip through this one. You guys can check out the article below. I guess the biggest thing here would be Arakara Trinket. Arakara Trinket got nerfed by 5%. Still gonna be an amazing choice. Doesn't really matter. Spymaster Web got nerfed by 5% on use intellect. Kinda disappointed, but I wasn't going to play this Trinket anyway for M+. Whatever, I don't care about this one. I guess I care about Arakara. The rest of the trinkets I'm not gonna cover. You guys can check them out. There's been some healing trinkets nerfed. There's been some tank trinkets to be buffed as well. I'll link the article below. You guys can check them out. Overall, has been a pleasant 3 months of preparation since beta week 1. So I would like guys to thank you for coming on all the class changes streams. Probably class changes will appear once again closer to 11:05, maybe next month, maybe November. I don't know exactly. But thank you for watching once again, and I hope you guys see you on stream. Take care of yourself and have a great one. Peace out from your boy. See you on stream. Bye for now.